and welcome back to Badger Bits. My name is Badger, and I haven't done one of these videos now for 2 years, actually. The last time I did one of these was back in May 2024, and a lot of things have happened since then. So, let's go through this. I have some notes just above me, so if you see me put my head up, it's because I'm having a quick look at my notes. So, what's happened? First things first, I will talk about my physical health. As you guys have seen in a few of my videos, I was struggling with severe back pain and sciatica. That is still going on. I earlier last year was referred to the MSK team in Huddersfield, but I am waiting for a second opinion from a different people, because when I went there, they looked at my chart, and when they saw the words adverse childhood experiences, they decided that my physical back pain that I've had for the last 14 years is all in my head, and decided that the best course of action would be mental therapy rather than physical therapy. I tried to explain them that the reason why I have this pain is due to a accident while I was a dancer, and they wouldn't listen. So I am still waiting to hear back from a different MSK team to be able to talk to them about it and get a second opinion. So yeah, that's fun. I still have the problem with my IBS due to the COVID that I had back in 2022. That apparently will never go away. I will always have that. And finding out all my new food triggers has been so much fun. Due to everything that I like, now I can no longer eat, which is great. It is so fun to find that, oh, that burger that you really like, nope, you can't have it. That pizza that you really like, nope, you can't have it. No lasagna for you, no chili con carne, no spaghetti bolognese. Everything that I enjoyed has now gone, and I'm having to either cook from scratch and replace some of the ingredients, or reduce the amount of stuff that I can have. Oh, it's so much fun, and thank you, COVID, for that. Yay. My mental health, however, since 2024, the last video I was talking to you about going for a assessment, and I was actually sent for a 2 years altogether, because I've only just finished this back in February, I think it was, of one-to-one therapy and group therapy. And for the first time, I actually was able to open up a lot more about my mental health with this therapist, because she was so kind and so wonderful. She wasn't... I've had a few therapists who were very judgmental and dismissive, whereas this one was so much nicer. It became a running joke, because during one of my sessions where she had a student doctor to watch the session, I had to explain everything that happened to me, and I made that student doctor cry. So it became a running joke that every student doctor that she was going to bring in, I was probably going to break them. But she was very open with me, and I was very open with her, of I didn't mind any students coming in and seeing the other side of therapy, as a few of these were people who work in hospitals and see the after effects of what happens in therapy, or the pre-effects of before therapy, of how they are. They didn't really see much of the journey through it. So usually what happened is, at the end of my session, I gave them an opportunity to ask me any questions, and I was very open with them, and it was so much... I wouldn't say so much fun, but a lot of easement in the experience. The group therapy, I got to meet quite a few people who I now class as some of my friends. At first, I was very, very awkward in the group therapy as I was the only guy there, and I felt like I was stepping into a lady's space, so I kept quiet. But over the weeks, it was a lot more easier, pardon me, to open up, to be able to voice my opinions, and sometimes even disagree with the coordinator on certain things, and educating each other on different ways of thinking and different aspects of how people can help themselves and how people see themselves. So it wasn't just, here is everything, go forth and be better. It was more of a collaborative thing, which I found a lot more easier to work with. We did have a other coordinator come in and take over once every now and then, and his way of doing things was very much these are the facts that I'm going to tell you. You sit there and listen. Okay, bye bye. And even the rest of my group felt that one wasn't working for them, and we asked them not to do that again, which they were very open, and they actually didn't. So that was great. A few of the people that I actually met there, like I said, are now a few of my new friends, and I speak to them online, and I go visit them at coffee shops. I think I've got one coming up soon. If I do, I'll ask them if it's okay if I can film and introduce you to them, but I don't know if they will be able to. So we'll keep that one in mind. But mental health wise, I am doing better. I've learned some new skills to help me in my daily life. And going forward, I am actually thinking of applying to learn how to be a peer support worker, as both my one-to-one therapist and my group therapy coordinators actually actively want to encourage that with me, because they think I am extremely empathetic to other people's way of life and want to help. So that is something I'm going to look into, because if I can, it's always been a thing for me, if I can stop people having days like I did and life like I did, then that would be the best thing in the world for me, if I can stop other people from hurting. So yeah, that would be a different thing for me to do, but I am looking forward to finding out how to do so. So I will keep you informed on here if that ever happens and how that journey goes. So the next thing on my list is personal life. Over this last 2 years, I have lost a few friends, and I've gained a few friends as well. Some friends said goodbye to me amicably, some were not so amicably, but that's what happens in life. Sometimes you go out of friendships, and sometimes you just find new ones, and that's what I did. And if this was about 5 or 7, even between 5 and 10 years ago now, losing friends would have been a huge devastation to me. But with these new skills that I've learned, it's sad that I'm losing these people because they were parts of my life, but I am not devastated that I've lost them. I am clinging on to the joy that I had with them, and I will always have those memories. So I wish them the best in their life, and I hope they have a great one. So the next thing is family. My father is still doing his dialysis, but back in January he was told he was taken off of the kidney transplant list, which he always said if that whatever was going to happen, he was going to just stop his dialysis, which means ending his life. So that hit me quite hard back in January. He hasn't done that yet. He's still looking at options with his doctors about any other different types of treatments. Maybe do, instead of going to hospital 3 days a week for couple of hours to do dialysis, if they could do home dialysis, which is a lot different because he can stay on a smaller machine for overnight and do a longer version of it, so he doesn't feel as bad during the day. So we're just waiting to hear about that one. But if that doesn't happen, I will very soon. I do think it's probably going to be by the end of this year saying goodbye to my father, which is not the best thing to think about. But we've got to that point in our relationship now where we're not more comfortable talking to each other about emotional stuff, and about how this is going to affect us, what the future will bring, and things that will happen after the fact. So about the funeral, about making sure everything at his home is all sorted out. And I think being able to have that discussion with him actually has helped a lot more, because for all you people who may have lost someone, it's the bit afterwards that always gets you rather than when it happens, because afterwards you have to go back to life. You have to continue. You can't just stop. So knowing that he was able to talk to me about that, like I said, it helped a lot. Other family relationships that I've come around is myself and my brother. He ended up staying with me for a while after something, and I looked after him, and we were able to talk about our lives as children and what happened to us, some of the lies that were told to each of us about each other. And now we're in a better place, and we're now part of each other's lives again. I see him quite often now, especially when I go to visit my dad, because after living with me for a while, he stayed with my father. He's now bought himself a brand new house. He's got himself a new girlfriend, and his life is actually going more in an upward trajectory rather than a downwards one. And I'm glad I'm part of that now. So yeah, you might see him on here a few times. Another one is my little sister. Just after we found out about my dad possibly passing away, her dad did pass away. And I went over to the funeral, and we got talking again, and we want to be part of each other's lives again. I am actually going to go visit her in a couple of weeks in Blackpool, and I want to make that a more... I want to be part of her life again. I want to go visit her a lot more. I want her to come visit me. Knowing that... knowing I've missed a lot out because of my own mental health and insecurities. Yeah, hopefully it gets better and I get to see the woman that she's become. She's now a A&E nurse, which is great. I get to see my niece again and find out how her life has gone, because she is now in college, which makes me feel very old, because none of my nieces and nephews now are younger than high school. Oh God, the feeling of being 43. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing them and seeing how their life has changed and what's new, and them seeing what's new with me. Uh, and the next thing I've got down is my work. I am still doing Monster Mash teas. I've been doing this now to the day of today, which is the 1st of January, for 5 years. There has been a lot of ups and downs. It's still not profitable. I did want to stop doing it a couple of times because of the way it was making me feel. But in this last year and a half, I have changed my mentality on it. I have figured out ways to do events in a different way. In my last video, which was on here, you saw me at Scarborough where I had the big shop and I had to hire a van to do that. I've found a way to bring everything down into a smaller way so I don't have to do that and I can just stick it all in a car, because I was taking everything and I didn't need to, because I wasn't going to sell everything. So putting 6 of each of my teas, so 5 to sell and 1 for display, all in a suitcase, is a lot better than taking the big boxes of each one, which is 20 of them, and then the shelving, and then the rack, and then the tea bags, and then the kettle, and everything like that. So bringing it all down into a smaller container and knowing which event would be more beneficial to the packet side of the shop and which one would be the hot and cold drink side of the shop, or even making a smaller stall of both. So it's been a learning curve and I'm still working on it. I've actually got a meeting tomorrow with a new website host to redo the website because it is completely broken. And finances have not been in the right place at the moment to be able to fix that. But it does mean it's a step forward into increasing the footfall of the website and getting myself out there a lot more. Besides Sci-Fi Scarborough, which I've still been doing, and I started doing Manchester's Bear Bash for their market. I've done that a few times now, and this year, for the first time, I was put down as the official refreshment stand for the event. So they actually provided me with the kettle, with the milk and the sugars and the cups and everything like that, and all I had to bring was my tea bags and do my little stall as normal. And then their refreshment stand was next to me and I was manning it. And I felt so honoured to do so, that they trusted me in being their refreshment stand for them. And I cannot wait to go back in November of this year for their next event to do it again. And I will continue doing it. I also did a few stalls in Birmingham, which didn't go very well. And I've also now found a Facebook group which is for stall holders to advertise themselves for events to look at and then invite you, or events to advertise on there for you to talk to them. So I now have a list of multiple events which are interested in me coming. So that is something to look forward to in the future. And since now I can stick everything in a suitcase and then the wire rack, I can catch a bus, I can catch an Uber or a train and go on my own and just do a smaller shop and do more events, which I am so looking forward to. This might not happen this year, but it's something for the future. My plan for that is to have at least 1, maybe 2 events per month. So look out for that. So the next thing that I've put down on here is things that I have enjoyed for these last 2 years. for the first time in my entire life, at the age of 42, I went to a zoo. Myself, Susie, Friday, Graham, and a new friend called Chalky, we went to Chester Zoo, and I got to see animals that I've never seen before in my life outside of a screen. So getting to see a red panda, getting to see a giraffe, a capybara, a lion, penguins. I was in so much awe at seeing these things that I was very close to tears sometimes because I was so happy. The place is large, and I mean huge, to the point where we thankfully Susie had a spare wheelchair that I had to sit down, and my friend Graham had to push me around because I ended up in so much pain walking around because there was a lot of hills, there was a lot of uneven ground, and we were there for about 4, maybe 5 hours. So walking around for that much became so much in pain that I did have to be in the wheelchair. And that was the first time I've ever been sat in a wheelchair and somebody's had to push me around, and I felt very awkward. Felt sorry for my friend to have to do that. And the looks that people give you when you're in a wheelchair is... I don't know why people do that. Why people look at you like you are a piece of crap underneath their shoe because you're sat in a wheelchair because you can't move, because you're in pain. It wasn't a good feeling, but I kept that feeling out of the way while I was there. I have also experienced that feeling a few times while going shopping, because my pain levels have increased a lot. I've started using a mobility scooter while shopping because within 20-30 minutes of walking around, I am in too much pain to be able to move. And it seems to be the older generation, when you're sat in a mobility scooter, who don't like you being in one. Because they think, oh, you're young, you're a bigger guy, you should be able to walk around, not sit there on your ass and be lazy. You're just a lazy bum. I've had those comments a few times, but it's something I'm going to have to get used to, especially if nothing happens with my pain levels from the hospital and whatnot. It may become the norm that I start using these things, which I'm not looking forward to. Other things that have brought me joy, I'm going to move away from the bad thing there, is I'm still doing the role-playing games that I have been doing for a while now. Penny Dreadfuls is still going on after 6 years. Oh my god, we're still going. And it's so much fun to be able to do that. Running my D&D campaign, I now have a different player in there, and seeing the joy that they get from me telling my story is so much fun. Going out and seeing friends, going to the cinema, going out for a meal. I've just been enjoying some of my life that I've been sheltering myself from for the last few years due to my mental health. So I think going forward it's going to be a lot more positive. So yay. So yeah, that's the way my life has been for this year, for the last 2 years. So the next video you will see or hear on the channel will be my January vlog. Sorry, not January. We're not in January. We're in June. It will be my June vlog. So I'm going to put this one up as a introduction to Badger's Life June. So I hope you enjoy it, and I hope to see you all soon. Have a great day, and always be positive and go forward. See you later. Bye.